Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today in this webinar. Today, we are going to talk about the role of culture and creativity in supporting the tourism recovery in fragile destinations. And I'm Giorgia Laudati. I'm from the team of Destination Makers. And I'm here today as with Destination Makers, we are partner of the Culture is Capital project, which is a project, an international and European project developed to create new travel experiences in the European capitals of culture. So that's why we chose this focus for today's webinar. And I'm not here alone. I will be talking with Emma Talleri, CEO of Destination Makers, Emilio Casalini, who is the creative director of the Sciacca Open Air Museum, Paola Galuffo from the Periferica Experiences in Mazara del Vallo, and Carlo Ferretti from the Genera Festival. And now I'm leaving the floor to Emma Talleri, CEO of Destination Makers, which will be the first speaker for today. And she will take us through the last trend of tourism to introduce us to the topic. And then we are going to discuss some case studies with other speakers. So thank you, Emma, for joining us today.
Thank you, Giorgia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all our speakers. And I'm very happy to be here to discuss with you about the role of creativity in a new way of shaping destinations towards a new demand that is emerging. And today, more than before, after this difficult period that we were facing, things changed, customers changed, the travel demand changed. And so I think it's very important to be here today to discuss about this change and also to understand how it was before, how it's shifting towards a new future. We like to call it it's something that goes beyond tourism, so we don't like to call it tourism anymore. We are studying a lot what's happening in Northern Europe, and to understand how destination management organizations can be more meaningful for local communities and not focus only on classic tourism, but help local communities to imagine and design a better future, better products, to involve the traveler into change with the creativity processes. So today I'm going to show you a presentation about trends and some examples, best practices, and then I will leave the floor to our guests that have very interesting projects about how creativity is helping tourism destinations to become interesting for this new demand. I will share the screen. And I hope you will be able to hear me well because I'm at a conference, so there might be some noise behind me. What is very important for us and what is still important for us even after the COVID period and and everything that changed today is to focus on travel trends. So when we work in a destination, usually we try obviously to match the potential of the destination, but also to understand what the traveler is asking for. And these are the 2020 travel trends that we were analyzing before before COVID, but that are happening also to be of the future. So obviously they are going to change, and more there will be an attention to remote working, virtual experiences as well, and well-being more than wellness, and sustainability is a concept that is happening to be part of the discussion in tourism more and more. And there are more and more travelers looking for transformative travel experiences, even in less known destinations. And they are also looking for creative projects, creative offers, and travel offers that match creativity with travel experiences. So this is very interesting for what is happening today in the destinations that we are going to present. What we are what is very important to bear in mind that what Northern European strategies are focusing on are different kinds of targets, and the thing that I don't know if you can Okay. And the thing that there are not any more classic targets. So in the past, we were used to consider families and younger people, older people. Now, what is focusing is that we have more and more shades of travelers in each traveler, and according to these different shades, it's very important to create new kind of travel experiences that can match creativity needs or needs focusing on sustainability, different kind of needs, traveler needs that can be part of a single traveler. So what's happening in Northern European strategies is that more and more they are trying to create something that goes beyond classic experiences for defined targets, and create new experiences to address and to match this new travel demand. According to the what we were studying when we were trying to understand more how to create culture and creativity travel products in our destinations was defining cultural travel identity, which was defining the needs of this cultural traveler, more focused on creativity than on classic standard cultural experiences. So when we analyzed the data about people visiting these kind of experiences in different capitals of culture, destinations, etc., we were seeing that there are some shades in common. For example, that they are independent traveler, they prefer slow tourism, they are curious, they want to know, they want to experience, and also experience new kind of experiences, not just classic culture. They want to learn and be inspired. So this is linking what I'm saying now to the transformative travel trend, which is one of the most important travel trends in 2020. They like to interact with local people, they like to understand what's behind the scenes, so not only classic cultural or creativity experiences, but also meet the change actors, so the change makers, what's behind the story. And this is very important also with what we are going to show you later, because both the experiences of Sciacca, Mazara del Vallo, and Carlo, also with the festival of that they organize, they are trying somehow to they are trying to create participative processes that connect the potential of the destination with what could be interesting for the traveler as well, with the creativity process. So this is something that is really interesting for this kind of demand, and this is also related to a target that is very important for Northern European destinations like Copenhagen, for example, and Flanders, that are focusing a lot in their strategy 2020 and 2030 about the creativity class. So there is a specific target with a specific budget that they are focusing on when they create new kind of products related to sustainability, culture and creativity, arts, and everything in these kind of new projects in their destination. We will leave you these slides, but when we started working on strategies focusing on culture and creativity travelers, there were some primary and secondary motivations. Obviously, there is an interest for creativity. These people are usually interested in trends, so they like to they have some expectations when they visit some places, and so they are also interested in insta-worthiness. So obviously when they visit some places and they live some experiences, they're also interested to share and to inspire people of their network. So also the way in which we present the experiences is important, and everything that stimulates creativity and inspires is welcome for this kind of traveler. From the planning point of view, they are usually people that are organized, that they like to plan with specific tools. So they are interested in knowing also new kind of tools to plan their travels, and they are focused a lot on reviews and on user-generated content. So they plan their trips according to what others are saying, less than on classic advertising. So, for example, channels like Culture Trip or tools like that help to plan their experience with other travelers. So shared planning is something that is really important for them. So they like to experience new things, and they also like to organize their trip with tools that are innovative, smart, and less time consuming. So they like to have a seamless experience, and they don't like to be bothered with phone calls or, for example, sending emails and waiting for the reply. This kind of traveler is from one side very interested. I'm talking about the creative travel. From one side, it's very interested in creativity, and from the other side, it's very interested in something that it can be reached and discovered in an easy way. Then on the other side, we have the classic cultural traveler, which is obviously different, and he's someone that likes a different way of planning, and that lives that considers culture in a different way. So he considers culture in a more static way, and he looks for this kind of travel experiences in a classic way. And the difference between these two targets is that usually creative cultural travelers are millennials and people that are also able to think about travel in a new way. So today we're talking a lot about smart working, smart living, and the possibility to live new experiences, but also to share with others, and to spend some time in the destination to understand what's happening. And this is something that we are testing, for example, in one of our projects in southern Italy, in which we are thinking to involve the traveler in the creative process about new kind of experiences to address to smart workers and to people that could join us in our destination and be part of the change process. So when I'm talking about creativity in the travel industry, and also in the cultural travel industry, I'm not talking only about classic creativity, but also in creativity as a shift of mind when we design new kind of experiences addressed to different shades of travelers, so different needs and different kind of people. Everything that I'm saying leads to a change. I was reading 2 months ago an article that was published by The Guardian about the need to consider tourism in a completely a new different way. And in this, I think that creativity can help us to design new kind of experiences that are focused on a tourism for good. So not only on tourism in a classic way in as we were thinking about in the past, but from these new interviews and from these new articles and statistics, we are shifting slowly to a way of traveling for good. So to bring a contribution to the local community, to the change, and also to be inspired about what's happening in the local community in different creative ways. So this is a slide coming from a strategy of Wonderful Copenhagen, which is one of the DMOs that we like to study because they are doing a really good process of shifting from the classical tourism to something that is more meaningful for the local community. And for this, they did a really interesting process of creating the right customer personas, so the right profiles that they wanted to invite to their destination. And for example, this is a very interesting work that was done by the Slovenian Tourism Board, which was working a lot on the definition of the ideal customer, ideal traveler for their destination. And according to a report shared by Tracksoft, these are the most planned and booked experiences in 2019, and there is more and more a request for unique experiences. And when I think about creativity, for example, in the travel industry, and I think about uniqueness, I think about something that is not easy bookable, easy to buy, but it's something that can also be tailor-made and custom. It's a shift of mind also about bringing the traveler to the local projects that are changing the destinations. And in the speakers that will come after me can surely show you a really good way about how creativity in the destinations can also be inspiration for travel experiences and for something that changes the traveler that can visit those places. And then there is a more and more demand about sustainability, ecological tours, obviously local experiences, adventure a lot, and history and culture. And people are willing to invest in experiences, but that are not just standard experiences. People are looking more for experiences that become a motivation to visit those destinations. And this is really important for less known destinations and for places that are not primary destinations, because if with creativity we can create some products that can somehow become the motivation to visit our places and to become the why of our destination, then we will be able, and we have done this in different territories, we will be able to attract people not for the place, for the where, but for the why. And this is a real shift of mind in my sector as well, in destination marketing, because usually we think that we have a place and we have to market it, but creativity in designing travel experiences can help us a lot to create something that is new and that is matches curiosity and the new demand. For example, here I have some examples of new products that were sold out immediately after launch. This is a restaurant that was launched after COVID in a forest. It has just 6 tables with social distancing. It's a pop-up restaurant that was launched in August, and it was immediately sold out. So it was a creative experience, a different experience that let people know this place that they didn't know and discover a new destination. And it was very welcomed about this new demand. Then we have this small village in Emilia-Romagna. They focused a lot on arts and culture to become more attractive, and so they created itineraries and paths, inviting artists to redesign the classical tourism itinerary and become interesting for the traveler. I was talking a lot during this conference in which I'm today about Favara, this place, this city in southern Italy, in Sicily, that became a hub for culture and creativity and arts. Today they attract 10,000 thousands and thousands of travelers, not interested in the classic Sicilian destination, but in how this place changed thanks to creativity and thanks to the effort that people involved in art, culture, and in all these participative processes put into as an effort into this destination. And it became one of my favorite places, even if it's not a classic destination travel spot. It became one of my happy places as well, because it shows how people can work together with the local resources, local energies, and energies from abroad coming to the destination to change the place and become a tourism destination. Today you will listen more from Emilio about this experiment, which is becoming best practice in Sciacca. And And also another really interesting art laboratory in the northern part of Italy, in the Dolomites, was launched as a land art experience that today is attracting thousands of travelers to the Dolomites, not for the Dolomites, but for the art experience that you can live there, thanks to this new kind of way of experiencing the Dolomites through art sculptors that were created in these years. And it attracts today about 80,000 visitors a year. And this was something completely new that was added to the classical baseline of the destination as it was. So it's something that with destination makers we like to do a lot. So understanding what's there, understanding the demand, and trying to create something, an added value to match the travel demand. And then I'm closing my presentation with just a link to what we did in the Dolomites as well, which was a shift of way of seeing at the destination. So we were working in the heart of the Dolomites in 7 tiny villages in northern Italy after a very difficult hurricane that destroyed the landscape. We are thinking with the local community on how to create a new why without spending a lot of money in infrastructure, but focusing on the possibility to create a new product focused on something that was completely new but interesting for the travel demand. So we did SWOT analysis, travel offer mapping, and we analyzed a lot what was there, spotting some weaknesses on which we focus to understand how to move on. And then we tried to focus on some unique selling propositions, so wilderness, the mountains, authenticity, and disconnection. And we created a whole participative process with the brand and the product, which we called the Recharging Nature, which was our creative layer in nature to be added to the base, so to the mountains, to the nature, to the Dolomites. The Recharging Nature was a product in which we combined our creative efforts to imagine a new way of living the Dolomites, 5 days and 4 nights of total disconnection with a psychologist that was helping people to reduce their stress level. And this was a way to add a layer to what was already there. And we launched the campaign, and we received 19,000 applications from all over the world, not interested in the Dolomites. We analyzed all the videos, all the motivations, not interested in the Dolomites, but on the possibility to live a creative experience, a new experience in the Dolomites, and also to be part of the restart phase of this destination after the hurricane. So what we did there was create a participative path with the local community, understanding together what kind of creativity we could add to the landscape and to the potential, and most of all, understanding what the market was asking for, what the demand was asking for. And this connects me to the first slide, the travel trends. So we never have to forget about what the demand is asking for, what the market is asking for, because then we can match and connect the potential. But the layer of creativity is very important, because today travelers want new experiences and want to become part of the experience as well. So thank you very much.
Audio.
Adesso sì.
Okay, sorry. So thank you, Emma, for this presentation and for this overview on the last travel trends and case studies, best practice. I think that right now the everyone is looking for data to try to understand what's going to happen next. And of course, no one has an answer to what's going to happen next. But I think that we are going through a paradigm shift. And so I want to ask you, do you think that right now we have to find new definitions for the concept itself of tourism? And what does it mean being a small destination today, a fragile destination, as we call it in the title of the panel? Thank you.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. As I was saying before, we use this time that COVID gave us to study and to understand if there was something else other than tourism. And actually, as the article of The Guardian, but also these new destination strategies of Northern Europe that we are studying, like Flanders, Copenhagen, etc. We are talking more and more about visitor economy and not anymore about tourism. So something that is going beyond tourism. We are used to think about tourism as a way to fill rooms, a way to host people for a short time, and then these people leave. But there is something else, and actually more and more destinations are happening to understand this. And I wrote about this in an article recently about the possibility to actually consider the traveler part of the change in these fragile destinations. So this can be an opportunity for places that today don't live about tourism, from tourism, but they could live from tourism, but from a new way of tourism. So, for example, we are doing now in Brindisi, which is my hometown, but also a very difficult place in southern Italy. We are thinking about how to imagine new kind of temporary visitors, not tourists, temporary visitors that can come to our place and do smart working from there, and not from main cities, but we are imagining, trying to understand how this evolution that happened after COVID could be a way of thinking about attracting new human capital in marginal area, less known areas in southern Italy, for example. And so it's something that goes beyond tourism. And Visit Flanders did a really interesting strategy about that. It's called Travel to Tomorrow. And in Travel to Tomorrow, and also in the Copenhagen Tourism for Good strategy, they talk about visitor economy and not anymore about tourism, which is really a shift of a way of thinking, a paradigm change, and it's something that can really help us to consider the traveler as a person that adds value to us, and our local community can add value to the traveler. So it's very interesting. Obviously, today is a niche, so it's not mass tourism, but many destinations like Ischgl in Austria and other destinations used the pandemic to redesign the offer, to reshape destination, understanding that they could not live anymore about mass tourism, mass tourism, and also that the pandemic showed us that destinations living only about mass tourism collapsed. So we have to think about something that is good for the community. Also evolving the concept of destination marketing organization to destination management and marketing organizations, like, for example, it's happening in different destinations in Northern Europe, mainly thinking about the well-being of the local community and then about marketing the travel offer. So it's really something that goes beyond. It will take time because today, obviously, we are still thinking about tourism in many places, but it's something that, from my point of view, could be also education. So showing that can be a better way of traveling, a more sustainable way of traveling, and also a more sustainable way of living and experiences the destination, which is not a simple classical travel experience, but is something really more meaningful, inspiring, and transformative.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this point of view on the future of tourism. We are very eager to see the next steps of also the projects that you're following. And now, since you highlighted,
thank you.
Thank you. Since you highlighted a lot the role of community, I will. I think this is a perfect assist for the next speaker, which is Emilio Casalini. He's going to talk about the example of Shaka. Em already mentioned it during her presentation, but he's going to take us through this really interesting example of destination management with the local community. So thank you, Emilio, for being with us.
Thank you. Hi to all. Hi, everybody. Shaka is a small city, well, not really small, it's 48,000 people in the south of Italy. And what has been started is an kind of experiment, is a laboratory of open air museum. The idea is the museum, the 5 doors, all the doors of the town are the doors of the museum. The squares are the exhibitions room, and the narrow streets are the corridors. And what is shown on the museum is the identity and the people and their identity. So it's a kind of the approach. The last target is to make a new tourist destination, but we almost never talk about tourism. As Emma mentioned before, there's a switch between of the mentality, and what we're doing there is to change the approach of the whole community. The community becoming a welcoming community where everybody is welcome and where it's very nice to live. A better way of living makes a new destination for temporary citizens. There's many different phases. We have a different phase on the process we're doing, and what we're doing is we are witnessing a very big change. I'm going to share just a few. Well, that's just a few pictures because this is in a few words, this is what we're doing. We are moving from a community made of isolated and single individuals in a community that becomes aware of the power of the network, is becoming a community. With the social awareness, we make everybody understand the value of what they have around them, and so that the community becomes aware of the value, and the single people becomes aware. Then, but with the social empowerment, we push the community on becoming more skilled, more more in a better way of welcoming everybody. We're talking about experience. We are talking about hotels. We're talking about a restaurant and everything. So empowering the people in their skills for welcoming, and then this makes a qualified community, and people in South is interested in what they're doing. And then there's another phase we're working on is the community engagement. So the people that now is aware of the value of what they have around has been asked to start acting. So it become an active community, and the people in his own, it's an active subject of, and then it becomes then we have the destination management, because the community in itself start to manage what they are building and what they are doing in the changements. So everybody in his own is a responsible and happy, but the community is becoming a responsible community, and both of them, the action is joined into an economy of beauty, where beauty is the identity, is the landscape, is every kind of common heritage. We're very give you an example. We have connected the community in with the people in itself, but then it became a link, a field where all association, all tourist operators, all theater, shippers, environmental association, schools, everybody, and also the local community or local authorities became into this network, and then the network connected also the huge association around, so became a network of with 56 protocol we have. And then example of what we're doing in terminal and practical terms, it's this. Connecting the people. We're going to make for the next in a couple of months, we are going to open widespread info points. When we mean that we have between 12 and 12 shops, bars, tobacco sellers. They are becoming info points where what you do when you go to an info point, you ask for information, what to do and where to go. Okay. Our shoppers, our places are giving this information, giving maps, giving any info for what you're doing that day, what you can do. And so we have a kind of the largest info point. We're going to call the largest info point in Italy for number of operators and branches, because for a small community, we have 15 or maybe next time in the next month 20 info points. And we have a huge opening hours, because from the very early in the morning, 7 a.m. to when the pub is going to close at 2 a.m. in the night. So that's our opening hours for the info point. And then we're going to try to speak almost any language with the translator, of course, but we're going to buy as a community like the Google Nest or whatever it is, where everybody can speak their own language and there's a automatic translation, and we're going to speak in their language. So it's a kind of approach. We are not speaking any languages, but it's an approach to them. And then the change of what Emma were saying about the unique experience. Okay, we thought we never, with the most genius destination maker, can never think about every kind of experience can be done by the community. An example. So what we do is we've developed the identity of the community where everybody is an experience giver. An example, something that happened we didn't expect before, is the project Blind View. So we have guided tours for an experience for blind people, like including driving a boat or learning how to drive a boat, and also olfactory itineraries. But we also give to everybody, able, normal people without no problems in their eyes, to be temporarily deprived of a sight for discovery. So you discover your senses through and thanks to your guide, which is a blind man. So instead of having talking about only accessibility, like oh, poor guy is a blind, our blind are the guides, and they give you the chance to discover like a superpower of your skin, of your hearing, and whatever. So the disability for us is considered a new point of view as a power. Also, the marketplace we're going to build, it's something different, because our marketplace is taking everything inside, every piece of the experience, but also different kind of people who is giving their own experience. It's a process community-centered. No, involves the acquisition of skills, compliance, where we share rules, and there's a protection of a common good. We are doing training. We are giving, and this also, the engagement means sustainability means experiences, any kind of, and means communication. Also means for us, just want to give you another example of what is happening in Shaka. There's a destination management. The destination management is made by the community. So rules are, we need the rules to manage the network, but it's given to the community. So we have a governance, we have we have a governance, we have a DMO. It's like being a destination management organization, we are like a company with the values of a family. We run like a company with the values of a family. We have a board of directors, we have a board of managers, we have a board of the supervisors, we have operational teams, we have everything. We define KPIs for controlling the results. So we are sustainable in fact, because we control ourselves. And also economy, the word economy means coming from oikos, nomos, is a double word, two words from Old Greek. So oikos is the home, nomos is the rules. So oikos, nomos, economy means the rules of the houses, of the house of all, where everybody has to stay in. So that's why we call economy of the beauty, because everybody is responsible for the economy inside their own house. And it's complex because it's a complex process, because as Emma said, it's a paradigm shift, no? You know, complexity is right, is necessary, simply must be managed. And it's really bottom up, is not top down, it's bottom almost. The people is coming later, but it's bottom. We move from an ecosystem in an ecosystem, and where everything is generated by and implemented by everyone, and is endogenous, is all resources are exploited in the place. So, and then it's exponential, because local, we have a kind of equation, new mathematical equation with 1 + 1 makes 3, not 2. 1 + 1 makes 3, because cooperation creates new combinations, new synergies, which in turns in new activities. The growth goes from linear to exponential, because you can't control even what is going on. And it's sustainable because the community aims to live well. So the quality of life, the protection of the environment, and the responsible use of any available resources are chosen by the community. And that also is ethical, because after centuries of disharmony in the economy of beauty, useful and ethical are no longer in conflict, but contribute to an acceleration of processes. Thanks to this, are also a moral law, because which is respected by everybody, because it's shared by everybody. And last an example, just to give you an example of what is going on, there's Area Viaggi is the largest hotel complex in the area, the south of Sicily, opens for the first time in winter, in December. Why? Because the territory offers new experience that can be done by the new clients and the new customers. So the travelers come in a new period to discover another phase of the territory, and new income opportunities for those who work in the hotel industry and the host of the community. So there's a synergy. Before, the owner of the hotel for kind of 400 rooms say what they could do for 3 weeks in winter, in January. Okay, we give you the chance to do many things. So the community, this is a kind of, for us, is the response, is the answer, where a full community take his destiny in the hands and works to make it.
Thank you very much, Emilio, also for your enthusiasm. It was really a nice experiment. We enjoyed listening to you, and I really enjoyed the example of the info point, which it happens in many places to go there and doesn't know where to find information. And this is a nice example, and I like that in Shaka you managed to create this example on things that people discuss many times, but sometimes it's really hard to put those concepts in practice. So I would like to ask you what were the main difficulties to in the creation, in the implementation of this project. And you already told us, I think, many achievements. And which one do you believe is the biggest one or one of the biggest ones?
You know, I met this project when Viviana Rizzuto, which is the president of the community, of the Open Air Museum. Well, the Open Air Museum Association made a change in a, we call cooperative community, I don't know what is in English, but anyway, we are kind of company, a community company. So she's the president of the cooperative company, and we met, and I found that was amazing. And I'm talking about this young lady, which came back from abroad to invest all her skills in her homeland. So because what she did was to build a community network, human network. So the biggest effort wasn't to talk about the communication or tourism marketing, whatever, because what you're talking about advertising if you don't have a very strong value to advertise. So the main work and the most difficult work that Viviana and the people around her, because there's a very strong community growing. So at the beginning were there very few, but they've been working on creating the network. That was the most amazing work. So now we have a huge network of people. We have 24 years old, two vice presidents. We have a lot of young working, and there's no problem of any kind of age in working. But what Viviana started to do from the beginning, and then I have been working together with them later, was the network and the awareness, which is also the best result we had. Because the awareness of the people make this durable. Because when you understand there's a really big value around you, and yourself, you are a big value for other people, then you understand that first you have to do something without waiting from the sky, the help from the sky. So you have to act by yourself, start from yourself. And second, that this must be protected, because there is a value. When you find something valuable, you protect it. So that's the main result, is the awareness of the people. That's why we're talking about working on community instead of working on the tourism. When a community is happy because their place is well-being, well-living, so there's the new kind of tourism we want. So a kind of new citizen is welcome there. So it's very easy to change the community in a tourism destination, because there is a community which lives well and welcome better.
Thank you. And yes, probably trying to involve people at the beginning, it's always the hardest part, because
we are in the south of Italy, so it's not really the easiest, but that's the point. We are working in the poorest province of Italy. We're and Paola will can tell you later, we are in the third worst region in Europe for employment. So we're talking about one of the worst places, but then you see there and it's amazing. So the point is, why it's not working? Because we have to change the mentality of ourselves and the people. That's the first target, is the community.
absolutely. And it goes perfectly in line with what Emma was saying before. And I think that first you mentioned we need to protect this value, but maybe we also need to create more value by going back to our territories. And I think that's what you did in Shaka and what Paola is doing with Periferica. So maybe we can let her talk about her example. Then at the end, we are going to have an open discussion with all of you. So it's going to be interesting also to compare your two experiences. But please, Paola, talk us about Periferica.
Hi, thank you, Giorgia, and thank you everyone. One moment, please. I share the screen. I share with you some images about Periferica. Okay. Okay. So, I'm Paola, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm co-founder of Periferica, an organization that, promotes urban regeneration through social, culture, and artistic processes to enhance the link between community and territories. We are based in Mazara del Vallo, Sicily, and we define ourselves as returning creatives after having trained outside Sicily. We returned to work in our territory. A multidisciplinary group under 30 composed by architects, designers, and creativists who share their ideas and skills every day in a space that we have started to call home. Casa Periferica is a cultural park with activities, people, and projects. A space recovered for everyone, together with the community, composed by a primary school from 1980 and a quarry from 1800. It's precisely from these particular places that we started to discover a story that surprises us every day. Okay, our headquarters is one of the Calcarenite quarries, which the neighborhood is full, and where there is a 2,500 square meters park and Evocava, an evocative museum of the quarry. A museum that evokes the underground Mazara through different areas: history, culture, nature, art, and innovation, co-created together with our digital and territorial community. The first itineraries started in August 2018 and record very much interest. We want to give quarries a new opportunity through the creation of a new training offer to avoid that the absence of incentives and poor planning leave these places unused and at the risk of building speculation. And the importance of the process is the involvement of external and local activators through format aimed at creatives, artists, and people. For example, an artistic program called Recreation. And the most important project for impact, it's the Periferica Festival, an urban regeneration festival where university workshops, neighborhood workshops, and cultural events live in a unique program. Each year, the festival follows a specific team around which develop different activities. The workshops in particular. Okay. It's okay.
Paola, I still see the first slide. I don't know if it's okay for you. Of you being working with the slide, I still see the first one.
Ok, aspetta. Un attimo.
Didn't want to interrupt you, but okay. But I thought, yeah, exactly. I know the place, so okay.
Ok, ora?
Yes. Okay.
Ok. So, ok. Allora, ok. Each year, the festival follow a specific theme around which develop different activities, and the workshop are divided into 3 areas: architecture, design, and communication, developing new solution for the area with an interdisciplinary method. Okay, sorry. Okay. What I've what have I learned, and what do I continue to learn from my experience in the area? That the effective creation of a place is an art and not a formula. Some places make us feel good and others bad. Some open us out and others close us in. But even contraction cities that are losing energy can work can thus attract the ambitious and the resources. The core themes address how we can create places of encourage and originality, places of opportunity and ambition, places of connection and communication, places of inspiration and imagination, places of the restart. Each individual can really contribute to rising his home place, and acknowledging this can generate a spirit of generosity. It can create the desire to give back something to your city. This helps raise up the value of civic pride, loyalty, and trust. Everyone reinforces the other, and this creates a positive virtuous spiral. We have to work on how to release the creative potential that lives in us. And it is from here that we started in Sicily, in Mazara del Vallo, and this is my story. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Paola. I think there were some technical problems because we couldn't see all the slides, but if anyone wants the slides, we're going to share it at the end of the webinar. So, and you can also follow the Periferica project on the social media websites. So you'll see the pictures of their amazing project. So thank you for your presentation and for the values that you highlighted in telling us the story of Periferica. And there is one point, if you go seeing the pictures of the project, you'll see that many of the Periferica people are very young people. So, and Paola herself is very young. So I want to ask you, which one do you think is the role of young generation in these processes of reactivation of their territories in a period of time in which we are seeing like young people constantly going abroad or far from their original cities or small villages? So you are an example of a young person who stayed and who created something beautiful for their peers. So which one do you think is the role that we as young people from Southern Italy should play in the reactivating our communities?
Yeah. The strongest thing about Periferica is the new strengths generated by the many young people who have joined the project. Young people from the city, but also international. The motivation is in trying to create together a culture of knowledge, a culture of imagination, a culture of invention, a culture of encounter, a cultural in general, but always in a creative way. The ability to solve problems applied to objective aimed at the collective good. Every single action must be matched with a reaction that brings widespread benefit that can be in favor of all. What motivated me every day is the desire for change that I think should start with a single person. The transformation of spaces means taking care of the place where we live and having the capacity for action. Thank
Wow.
you.
Thank you. Seems easy in words, but it requires a lot of work and courage. And compliments to you and your team for the project. And now we have our last case study, which is also another example of young people working for their territory, this time with a slightly different approach, because we have Carlo Ferretti here from the Art in Libertà project, which is talking today about the Genera 2020 Festival, which is a festival that uses creativity to bring life to their territory. So I leave the floor to Carlo. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Georgia, and thank you to the other. Some of the case study you brought, I knew before, so one note, and it was very interesting. And today I'm called as a founder of Arte Libertà, which is a project born 2 years ago here in Bari, in the south of Italy. And we started like thinking how to produce cultural content and art here in the south in order to resolve some of, in our opinion, problems. But before talking about that, I would like to start from another perspective, because I am a cultural economist, actually, or my I would like to say study brought me this kind of approach. And when I thought about and I view the cases that accompany me today, I was starting from a question that is, why should be important for a fragile area, or peripheral area, rural area, as we want to call that, investing in culture. And when I say investing in culture, of course, I relate it to a municipality or a group of people, so a community, that they invest their time, invest their work and competences in order to using culture in some way to obtain some results. And these results, I mean, there is a really long literature about how culture can affect a community or a territory, and from the brand reputation of the city to bringing new economies, to reputation, to working on the social capital. Actually, like from Florida, which is one of the authors that mostly talk about the effect of culture on urban economies, to the European capital of culture, that if we see how this format develop in the course of time. I mean, it's interesting to see how the relation between culture and areas changed during the time. The risk, in my opinion, is that sometimes it seems that these are more formulas than really, I would like to say, solution or impacting way to approach the problem. And so that's why, and maybe with Giorgio we will talk later, that's why it's so important to be accountable, or especially, the people are here that we work every day with culture on territories. We would like to demonstrate what we do, the impact that we provoke, like material impact, but even material impact, economical one. So in some way, even with our project, we started trying to understand which kind of impact we would like to provoke in our city, which is Bari, which is not really a fragile area in the mind of the people, because we are talking about a metropolitan city of 300,000 people. But actually, in our point of view, there is some fragility, I would like to say, approachable with culture. And when we start thinking we can do something for our city and our territory, for us the problem was especially the fragile part was the cultural low production of Bari. And this in some way demonstrated by the really low data about cultural participation in Bari and Puglia, that is under the average of the Italian cultural participation. And so, of course, there is low demand and low offer, and low demand, and this is a problem. So the way we approach, for example, differently in some way from the case of Periferica, that they decided to invest in a place and invest in a community. In some way, we decided to approach our action specifically on artistic production. And so our answer to the first question was, or the way we approached that question was through artistic production. And the artistic production we try to propose as a kind of interdisciplinary way of producing art in order to doing three things fundamentally. The first one is generating or amplify the cultural offer in our territory. And the second one was engaging local young professional. So contributing to create and contributing to the production of the cultural the product. And thirdly was working interdisciplinary. So between different kind of artistic languages and different kind, but even with, between arts and digital. So in my opinion, that's why during this summer, the municipality of Cisternino, which is a small town of around 10,000 inhabitants in the south of my region, which is Puglia, decided to invest in us in order to produce the General Festival. And actually, in order to understand the reason it happened, we have to analyze 1 second the context, because we are talking about, even in this case, not really a fragile area, but an area that, because we are talking about a really, I would like to say, important area for the region about tourism. So there is a quite good flow of tourism attracted by this kind of cities, which are Cisternino, Locorotondo, and Ostuni, of course. So the most important problem that the municipality of Cisternino had in order to invest in this kind of project was the brand reputation, I would like to say. So first of all, Cisternino is quite connected with a kind of tourism that maybe they would like to change and would like to propose a different kind of approach through culture. Secondly, is the target. Right now, Cisternino is not really a target still for young people. And so investing in a music festival, mostly based on electro indie music, was an attempt, a strong attempt to diversify the target that are around the city. And thirdly, what we did with the municipality was designing a music festival, so a cultural content that strongly create a dialogue with the local architecture. So we are talking about, of course, the old part of the city. So that's why this year we worked on the Genera Festival. The Genera Festival, as I told, is a music festival. It's a music festival of electro indie. And actually, so we design the festival during May. And as I told you, we designed the festival. So the concerts were performed on the terraces of 4 public buildings of the city. And the music was spread all over the town. And it was in some way even I would like to say an arrogant approach, because we brought the music to all the old part, and everyone, I would like to say, had to listen the music and to listen what will happen in that moment. And we work with 2 artists on the old part in order to create this art installation contents to give I would like to say, material part and the physical part to people. So what happened actually is that local people, but even tourism, that in that period we are talking about August, is really, really strong in the city. Were forced to relate with the different contents. And I'm quite confident. Of course, there are several things that could be improved in the approach and can be doing better, especially in the involvement of the people. But I'm quite positive that it was a positive content, and it was a positive approach. Especially because, and this is the second important thing, especially because when we start in design, of course, we had to design with the COVID situation. And so we had to create, and we have to, in some way, keep proposing cultural content, even in this situation. Even in the situation where a performative content was quite impossible or really difficult to enjoy and to consume. And so that's why we decided to play with the old part as a big stage where the people were in the bottom on the street, and the performers were on the rooftop, and with the music spread. So I want to conclude. With a video I want to show you, but I want to conclude that right now, culture in general are facing this situation, and from this kind of experiences, I'm quite positive that will arise a different way of approaching culture. There is 10 years of working on audience engagement, and we should keep doing it. And we should think what is going to happen with an opportunity at least to design other kind of format in order to still producing culture. And so still producing culture in order to impact in our territories, but even to give artistic product to the people. So I'm going to show you this video and conclude my speech.
sometimes the institution on the territory speak a very different language from the ones of artists and of the creative sector. And they need some, let's say, reasons. It's not the right word, but to invest in your project, to let you go on the roofs of Cisternino and just start playing music for your festival. So how do you start a dialogue with these stakeholders from different fields? Like, do you sometimes need some quantitative indicators, which is always an hard topic in the cultural sector? How do you measure the impact of culture? How do you go to someone and say, you have to invest in this because this is this is good for the community? So do you ever have this feeling that you need to be accountable in some quantitative way for your project, or do you have some other measures for the impact on the community?
Okay, I missed the first part, but I'm quite sure I understood all the question. Precisely in the case of in this case, actually was the municipality itself to contact us as a production and starting designing the project together with us, and it was a kind of co-design of the project, because the festival. This was the third edition of the festival, so we actually worked just on this one as a production organization. So in this typical case, it was actually I would like to say for the choice of the Department of Culture of the municipality to invest persistently in us, that we are actually not a local production, because we came from Bari. So it was I think for the approach that we have. Generally, I think following other project that its accountability is really important, but it's not a panacea of everything. Okay. So it's really important in order to communicate for sure better, and especially with some stakeholders, much more than a municipality, in my opinion, is with private organization that always, in my opinion, are much more into data language, I would like to say. And if they are to invest in your project, they should be in some way sure that the investment in some way is, covered. And the investment is not just, and we know that, is not just about, is not just economical, just not numerical, it's even immaterial, but we have to, in some way, engage even all the stakeholders to understand that there is a material impact too, and so this is a tool. The evaluation data are a tool to be more effective in our communication, but even more effective in our strategy. So I mean, we can start and conclude. We can start, of course, to pay more attention, and many organizations are doing to have data-oriented communication. And then I'm quite sure it will be really effective even in our internal strategy.
Yes, thank you. It's always a little bit of a tricky topic for the cultural operators and everyone who works in this sector. So I believe it's always interesting to see how different people approach to it. And so we are at the end of our webinar. We are a little bit late, so I didn't mention before, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment to the post on Facebook, and we will answer it either now or if you want to send us emails. And I think we will be available. And maybe I'll just open up the dialogue with the speakers. And I wanted to do a quick round of questions. Carl already answered it a little bit in his speech, but I want to ask Emilio and Paola why they choose to focus on creativity, on culture, why they invested in these aspects for their territories. Maybe it's going to start, Emilio.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So if you want to tell us, why did you choose to focus on art and creativity for your project of regenerating Shaka? Why do you think it's a good approach?
Well, yes, art, but more than everything, creativity, because the creativity of the people, the unexpected creativity, is amazing. It's I'm totally in love of what is happening when you give the power and the room of the people to express themselves. Not only young, but also everybody is, there's people are choosing to leave their old work to start for new economy, new startup, for example, making the floor of making bread for new incomers. So they are leaving their job, they're making a different approach of their old job, and starting with creativity. I mean, the place they're making the new jobs, the new buildings, the new rooms, the new halls, everything is starting to be new, and this is creativity. So it's not only a matter of art or creativity in what we usually expect to be. Like creativity is to be yourself, and to find a way of being yourself. It is a really new approach about creativity, I think. And there's a lot of things, so many things to discover in this field.
Okay, so a tool to unleash your inner potential, maybe creativity. Paola, in your experience?
Because creativity puts different people in relation, because it leaves their competences free to be, because creative is freedom. It has an immediate impact, and it's free from politics topic, join people together and change the face of urban neighborhood. And it's the most natural thing we can do.
Thank you, Paola. That's true. It's a universal language. Carlo, do you want to add something to on this point?
Well, not really. It's just that all the stakeholders should be really convinced of investing in culture. And when I say all the stakeholders, I'm not talking just about municipality, private organization, of course, local organization and operators. Is just even I would like to say, the courage to be interdisciplinary and to understand that culture is not just relegated to a cultural department of sort of public administration. Is just a complex approach. Connected with what Emilio said before. It's a complex approach. Is a complex way to investing in territories and producing content in so we can not only just bring people to a place, but bringing economies, bringing new contents and innovation, especially. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we can have another webinar on this.
About that, yeah.
Open up for a big discussion. So maybe since we are already late, we can call it here. And I want to really thank all the speakers that joined us today and dedicated us their time to talk about your experience and your insights on culture and creativity and their power for the territories. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
thank you for everyone who followed us today. It was a pleasure.